Scorched, trashed and locked down. The Villawood detention centre remains a site of protest action. A handful of asylum seekers are holding out on the tiles. The detention centre was set on fire, while asylum seekers overwhelmed staff from the Immigration Detention Centre service provider Serco. The action, which started with 2 detainees on a roof and grew to around 100, led to the riot police being called. This complex of demountable buildings was destroyed. Firefighters were thwarted by an asylum seeker throwing roof tiles and furniture.
Violence doesn't get anyone anywhere. Violence in no way makes a difference to the way people's claims are processed or assessed.
Those on the rooftop had their refugee claims rejected, some twice. This Iranian man, Majid, has been in detention for 20 months.
I'm human. I need to freedom. I want freedom. I don't want prison. I want protection, not detention.
The Immigration Minister, Chris Bowen, has been personally ringing the men on the roof. What did he say?
Nothing. Just ask me when you want to come down. I said never. I don't want to come down for never.
After the Christmas Island riots in March, which led to tear gas and beanbag rounds being fired on asylum seekers, the federal government denies it's lost control of the immigration system.
I think when you're managing what is a large detention population, you're also dealing with issues around people having their asylum claims rejected and the obvious frustration that causes people. You are going to have these sorts of issues.
Australians are sick and tired of waking up to reports of detention centres being set alight and of police being attacked by rioting asylum seekers.
But a former guard at Villawood has come forward, describing a privatised detention system in crisis. He says problems at the centre have been building for some time.
It's pretty unprecedented, really. Never seen anything like it before. In Villawood's entire history, I don't think there's been that much destruction at all.
He says his former employer, Serco, does not train staff properly.
Basically, from what I've seen, the new recruits were just basically put on the floor, no training whatsoever. They were being told that they would be trained as they worked, and that also has never happened before. Basically, what's supposed to happen is they're meant to go through at least a minimum 6-week course and then have a year of on-the-job training. Serco just basically got rid of the 6-week course using staffing levels as an excuse, and then basically just threw the staff straight on the floor and expected the experienced staff to train as well as do their normal jobs.
The former guard says the federal government should review Serco's contract.
They've had pretty poor performance, and basically the spate of major incidences under Serco's control there's just been too many. I think that the contract should really be reassessed.
The government's review of last month's riots at Christmas Island will now also investigate the Villawood protests. That will include the response of Serco and the Immigration Department.
Well, there's no evidence before me to indicate that any actions by Serco or Department of Immigration staff on the ground at the centres led to these incidents or that the response wasn't adequate. But I am not going to preempt the results of the Hawke-Williams review. I'm looking forward to receiving that review, and if there are lessons to be learnt, they'll be learnt out of that review.
It is these sorts of incidents that are making people near the sites of other detention centres nervous. The West Australian Premier Colin Barnett says he's concerned about security at the new detention centre at Northam, while residents north of Hobart were angered by plans to build a new centre in Tasmania.
We don't know what kind of people we're going to be introducing into our community around our children.
Criminal charges may be laid against some of those involved in the Villawood riots.